So we've got Chris here. So welcome, Chris, and just feel free to introduce yourself and tell us a bit about who you are and what it is that you do.
Sure. So I'm Chris Ryan. I have my own architecture practice. I'm a licensed architect and a registered contractor. And my focus is really working on early stages of projects with owners, both commercial and residential.
Nice. So I don't know how many months it is now. It's probably like 2 months, I would say. Is that
Yeah.
right? Since you've been in the program, what
Yeah, I think since
what?
about early November. Yeah.
Okay, just describe maybe where you were at situationally and mentally, like before coming into the program, that made you feel like the program was like a good idea.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I was sort of busy, and I don't use that in the good sense. Like I was, business was sort of, up and down, like sometimes very, very full, and then almost too full to sort of find the next projects. And so it just had this kind of back and forth feel and sort of not really knowing where the next thing was coming from. And so that was just, not sort of the way I wanted to be handling my business. And so, the idea of coming up with a better system for how to run the business, how to be sort of reaching out to people, what the sort of messaging is about what I'm really doing, not just offering drawings, but like what I'm really doing to help people, like that was all part of, what I think brought me into the program.
Nice. That's a good answer. Like I just listened to all that, and you've literally just created the perfect ad template as you're explaining that. That was really good. What
Mm.
in regards to being in the program, like where do you feel like you've got the most value so far? Obviously, you're only pretty early in the process, but like what have you enjoyed about the experience so far? What areas of the program have you gravitated towards? Feel free to answer that however you like.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely more of a structure in the sense of, being encouraged to dedicate more time to things like marketing and outreach, and just really sort of, getting into the iterative cycle of putting things out there, having a lot more conversations, and then just sort of continuing to evolve the way that offers are made or the way that I'm reaching out to clients just in general. And so, basically it feels less like, sort of kind of just hoping things come across the plate. And it feels much more predictable in a way where you sort of put in the outreach, you connect with the folks, in my case, who I'm trying to help and am looking to work with. And, you sort of have that conversation that keeps getting better and better. And it feels way less of an unpredictable thing. It's much more of like a real kind of process that I think really helps give a little bit more confidence in terms of, just the sort of business at a whole. And so being able to sort of structure that into the day, and in my mind, like really carve that out, has been very helpful. And I've certainly seen the results of that.
Got it. So kind of tying into the back of that, like take me through what you feel like your biggest aha moment has been since you've been in the program. And if you've got like more than one, feel free. If they're sitting on the top of your head, feel free to fire them out.
Yeah. I think that what I just sort of described, I think has been the biggest thing where, in the very beginning of the program, part of the conversation was, if you just do these things, like it will work and it will get better. And that, being 2 months into it and looking back, it definitely does. And it is, because it's not rocket science. I know, and you say this, you bring a lot of different sort of folks into the program that you're building here, in terms of like other books and folks that are sort of references that, I've been working my way through as well. And so like all of this is stuff that has been sort of like proven basically, or stuff that is not, it's not anything that is wild or out there. It's just sort of like adjusting my thinking a little bit in terms of how to position the business, not just as an architect, but as like an actual business owner. And then just doing the work and sort of continuing, to sort of work through it. And it fit really well with me, I think, because that's always been my mindset anyway, is sort of like, how can I evolve just my own mindset and my own life to sort of get rid of things that aren't working or improve my strengths and things like that. And so being able to sort of like focus that in a more specific way onto my business, I found that really, really, just really, actually really enjoyable to do.
Got it. Because I mean, if we to look at your background right now, we can tell you're an architect because I mean, an angled table is like
Yeah.
telltale sign. But I mean, I suppose one of the biggest things that you were saying coming in is that I'd love to hear your thoughts and like development on this, but a lot of the conversations that you're having, you've had in the past, and that you're moving towards as well. Architecture is obviously a vital component, but it's not the level or the topic of conversation that puts you into the most valuable situations, right?
Right. Yeah, for sure. I mean, the last 10 years, a lot of my work was around development. And so really sort of working on projects from barely even an idea all the way through being open for a commercial project or whatever it is. And the amount of architecture involvement is like kind of just this little bit in the middle. And so a lot of the bigger decisions are made way before any architect is ever involved. And I really enjoyed being a part of that. It's partly why I'm also a builder and really like to sort of be on site and work with all the different folks. And so, that's really, I learned that over the last decade. And so I've been really sort of figuring out how to position what I'm doing as almost a development consultant, because a lot of the clients I work with are in these early stages. And so they might need drawings at a certain point, but that's not where you start. Like, you have to start with, like, what are they really trying to do? What are their goals? Like, what are we trying to do here? Why are we putting in all this effort? And eventually there might be drawings that come out of that as a deliverable, but that's not the most productive place to start, because that's not where the most important questions really are formed.
Got it. So in regards to maybe the structural shifts that you've taken, I know it's only like a short amount of time, but what kind of results have you seen in implementing the thinking and the strategies?
I think just the consistency of just setting up more, bringing in more calls, bringing in more conversations with folks that I both know from previous work and don't know. Like, sort of just having goals about that, around that, has been good, because it has sort of forced me to actually do it, frankly, and do a little bit more of that kind of outreach and marketing and whatnot. And that's not something that maybe I'd been doing as willfully, I guess. And so being sort of, first sort of shown and then now kind of living it, the results that does have, for me, the important thing is that it's all very genuine. Like, I'm not offering things to people that I don't think are actually going to help them. And so being able to sort of market what I'm doing in a way that I think is genuinely helpful for folks, it all feels very much in line with what I'm trying to do. So it doesn't feel like there's any sort of like negative connotation around it. It's just letting folks know what I do and how I might be able to help them. And usually that's just getting a conversation going and then sort of getting a feel for what it is, where they're at, and what I might be able to do to help them. So yeah, I don't think I answered all of your question, but.
No, that's fine. That was a good answer. So obviously December you hit like a goal that you'd set out for yourself from a revenue standpoint. Take me through like maybe some of the different like mental attitudes, because I think the big thing is you're always destined to move towards those goals based on the opportunity that you had. But to me, it kind of seems like, and feel free to correct me or build on this, but it seems like you have more of a mental structure now on keeping those activities top of mind and understanding the relationship between how many of those conversations you need to have to turn something fruitful.
Yeah, I mean, even just setting goals, frankly, like setting revenue goals, or, I was just even yesterday sort of even just say visitors to the website, like, that had a significant spike as well over the last 2 months. And so not even a spike, but it's just gone way up. And so, even just having those numbers in my head, and then formalizing that in some of the software, tracking leads and tracking clients. I mean, even just being able to see that and not have it just sort of in my head or on a post-it or something, that alone, I'm always sort of like looking to improve, but actually setting some real goals and then working towards it for the business, I found that to be really, really helpful. And that was something that I definitely wasn't doing as much. As simple as that is, and as simple as that sounds, that I find that actually has been a really productive thing, was to sort of really just get my head around the numbers much more, and then set some goals and really be able to adjust, like, specifically what I'm even offering, so that I'm not getting sucked into work that isn't going to actually go very well, or it's going to take me too much time relative to what I'm charging or whatever. So just sort of being able to understand it all a lot more, and putting time, like dedicating time to that, which really only takes a few minutes every day. But then, to get to those goals, doing the outreach every day, doing, sort of continually working on the way I'm talking about it and the sort of offer. I mean, all of that being scheduled into my day, quite literally, has been really productive for me.
Nice. And I mean, the minute that you see the relationship between the efforts and the reward of it, and what it kind of, the chain reaction, I suppose, then it makes doing those activities okay, because we know what kind of data that's going to produce for us in the future, plus or minus like 10 or 20%. So based on everything, and you've kind of probably half answered it, but like, how has this changed the way that you think about the direction you're moving in the future in your design business?
Yeah, I mean, I guess personally, it's been a good sort of exercise to really get deeper into what it is I'm actually offering people, like really think through exactly at the deepest level I can, like what it is I'm helping people with. And that's why the drawings are like the third or the fourth part of that. That's not at all where it begins. It begins much more with this sort of just the fact that people are uncertain about what they're doing, or they might not even know what their goals are, like this sort of like foundation of like getting alignment for them and working through it, and then figuring out how that translates into whatever building or project it is. That's been really helpful, just to sort of do that deep dive, to be able to present it more efficiently to clients. And then on the business side, it just all feels more predictable in terms of where the business is going. And so I've been trying to like sort of maintain that window of doing the work every day to, do the outreach and the sort of marketing and produce material to support that, so that I don't have these sort of ups and downs as much. And so that feels really good that, like you said, I mean, I had a nice sort of ramp up, and, I'm looking to not only continue that, but, maintain it and expand it with other, in a variety of ways. And so it feels much more predictable in a lot of ways.
Nice, mate. Cool. Well, yeah, thank you for taking the time to answer a few questions.
Yeah.
Chris, greatly appreciate it, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.